Greetings, everyone. Core here. It's time for another midnight review. And I always seem to stumble when I say midnight review. Um, Not sure why. I guess I haven't gotten used to it, even though I've done quite a few of these so far. But nonetheless, tonight I went to go see Spider-Man: Homecoming, and I do want to talk about something that just happened today, July, July the 7th. Oh, July the 6th actually, because it's the early showings of Spider-Man: Homecoming, and that is unfortunately. Um, Stan Lee's wife, Joanna Lee, had passed away unfortunately this morning. Um, she was 93 and she had been married to Stan Lee, the man himself, for 69 years, which is really impressive, really incredible. And my condolences go out to the family, of course, and everyone that are impacted by, of course, the death, because it is truly sad. But it's you got to think. I like to think, she helped keep him straight, intact, make him humble, really, because Stanley is a very humble man, and I think she helped him out with that a lot. She wasn't in the spotlight as much. Some people might not know, but she was actually the voice of Madam Web from the '90s cartoon of Spider-Man, which is really cool because pretty much that was one of the things where she was really, she fit perfectly that voice and everything, and it really stand out. It really stood out, and the other, of course, she was in the cameo with Stanley just recently in the X-Men Apocalypse movie. She was, holding on to him, of course, to the end, what looked like the end of the world. But my condolences go out to the family, of course. And with that being said, it is sad that it does happen during the premiere of Spider-Man: Homecoming because Spider-Man: Homecoming is a great movie. It's really awesome to see Spider-Man continuing the MCU universe and just him kind of back home. It is a homecoming pretty much because he is back to the MCU, even though um, there's pretty much a lot of talk and news things, the rumors going around saying that Sony should have stopped the deal with Marvel Studios, and it really hope that that's not true because a lot of the rumors are pretty strange, and it seems weird that they would cut ties after such a great movie that Marvel Studios helped. Which I'm not sure if that's just like rep saying it's something like how could they do it so perfectly when Sony's been trying to do it for a decade now with 5 movies, and it's just I don't know what's going on with that, but nonetheless. Tom Holland does an amazing job as Peter Parker. It's really nice to see a young Peter Parker, which, yeah, we've seen him in Civil War and stuff, but this helps, bring out his character, actually shows off his acting ability, shows off how well he suits, being Peter Parker, and he does. He reminds me a lot of the Ultimate Universe Peter Parker, mostly because, yeah, that focuses a lot more in high school, and it's really cool to see because I do love the Ultimate Universe as far as Marvel comics go. So it is one of the universes I am more adapt to actually say what I know, actually more knowledgeable about that universe compared to most other universes, especially the main 616 universe. But yeah, so it's really cool to see, an actual kid of roughly the same age playing Peter Parker, and he does a very good job. He does an amazing job actually for his age. He shows a lot of range. He shows a lot of emotion, and it's really cool the whole story how they make it grounded, but also show this more sci-fi universe. With the Qatar, weapons being used and harnessed, and you get these hybrid weapons because you pretty much have this company that's scavenging, the Avengers War roughly, and they get kicked out for Damage Inc. Damage Control they call it, but yeah, it's just there's such a good motive behind the bad guys, behind Mike Keaton's character. The Vulture just being who he is, he's just literally he's trying to survive in this new world with superheroes and flying men, and aliens from outer space. And it's truly believable, and he actually is a very big threat when later on when he gets his suit and everything. There's a shocker, actually two shockers, um, and it's really cool to see that the shocking gauntlet. It's more or less a prototype, but you could kind of see how it could evolve into the more iconic versions, the more deadlier versions. And Spider-Man suit, is really cool too as well. There's a lot of neat gadgets where it's just like he's learning a new suit pretty much. He's learning how to be Spider-Man once again, how to go to the big leagues, but he has to of course go back down to the minors to really hone his skill, and he does pretty well. I think. The only problem I had was his spider sense seems very it seems very dull. I guess you would say it. Maybe it's just because he's getting such an overload and everything. I mean, he said it with his homemade suit. His glasses kind of are very, they block out a lot because he needs to focus better because he's still young. So it does make sense that yeah, he hasn't really tapped into his spider sense too much. But I felt like Captain America Civil War, he seemed to understand it better than in here. I'm not sure if that's just because he's being very cocky with his new suit and everything and all the abilities it has, but yeah, it's really interesting. Uh, there is an interesting little part that I found when the suit goes into a different mode. The eyes dim down and go red. It kind of reminded me of the Superior Spider-Man look, which yeah, we know Superior Spider-Man. He's a little more deadly, to do his job pretty much. But yeah, overall, it's pretty. It's overall, like I said, it's a great movie. It fits very well. I'm pretty sure they're gonna throw this movie into the Phase 3 movie collection, which I will definitely get because I already have Phase 1, the briefcase, and Phase 2, the Guardians of the Galaxy orb that had the Infinity Stone in it, and I'm I can't wait for Phase 3 to see what they have because I feel like it's gonna be the Infinity Gauntlet, considering that's the end game in Phase 3. But overall, music is really great. I think it really captures Spider-Man, his humbleness, his roots, not too overwhelming, but also knows how to, bring up those emotions very well. And there's some great moments. There's a lot of comedy in here. His Peter Parker's friend is Ned, which I believe I mean, it looks just like the Miles Morales, his best friend gang. So they do take a lot from Ultimate Universe. They do change a few ethnicities of some of the characters. Mary Jane is not really in here. There's no Gwen Stacy. I'm sure there is a Gwen Stacy, but they didn't call it out, so it's probably a background character. The love interest is a new love interest, which I'm sure the name sounds very familiar. I'm pretty sure he had a little thing in one of the comics at least. So there's a vague fact from that, but yeah, overall it's strictly a Spider-Man movie with you know Tony Stark here and there to kind of being the mentor, just getting him, just trying to make him prove himself, trying to get him focused, trying to keep him down, but want him to do something better. So it's really cool. I do like it. It was really hard not to see some of the reviews before this movie because they released it like 2 weeks ago, and there's so many critic reviews. And I think it might be. I mean, there's a lot of action. It has a very good pace. It doesn't feel boring at all. The story is written really well. Excuse me. Um, like I said, the only complaint I would have is just a spider sense because it seemed like they didn't they didn't really acknowledge it in a way where, like in Captain America Civil War, he had um, the piece of debris thrown at him from behind by Bucky, and he heard the spider sense go off, and he even says, "Uh oh," and he looks and ducks. Where this one, he kind of doesn't seem to have it in a way. So that's really weird, but overall, it's really cool. I do like that, shows him making his web fluids, shows him actually changing out his web fluids, which that was always a big thing because that impacted his fighting style and his, he had to literally he had to find time in a battle to switch him out if he ran out. So it's really cool. The way the Vulture fights is really cool as well. The whole suit that they make him is really amazing. It just fits so well into this universe and just really shows off a lot of the cool technology that they have. Um, the CG does get a little weird, especially for Spider-Man. Goes a little too uh, acrobatic, I guess, but it just doesn't look as smooth as it should. So that's just probably the only other thing I could gripe about. But overall, it's a very good movie. It's worth your money. The kids loved it. The ending is really amazing. There are two end credits, which one is a mid credit, which is after the fancy, end credit scene. And then, of course, there's one at the very end, which Marvel always does, at the end of the black scroll end credits. And that is probably the best end credit that they've had, that Marvel Studios has had, even Sony, because Dead Ghost was pretty good as well. But this one is right up there as far as one of the best end credit scenes. So definitely stick around for that. It's worth it for sure. But until next time, guys, I believe War of the Planet of the Apes is next week, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So, till then, later.